So can I back you up like 6 months ago when we were trading shop? And could you walk us through a pinks and cyans trade?
Yeah, I actually have some screenshots open so I can remember what ones were recent. Oh yeah, this is. Oh, you know what? You know what we, because you recommended this one was AAVE. Let me see if I can pull this up here.
Yeah, those were always fun. I'd be messaging you like, "Hey, wake up, go do your thing on this," and then you're
Yeah,
like,
and that one
"I
took
can't
that one
short
took
it."
a while. That one took a while. Yeah, I remember I was talking about Discord a while. Oh man, hold on one second. Those aren't supposed to be there. Okay, so I think it was around here, if I remember correctly.
So a little intro to this to people watching. This is
Yeah,
one of
let's
the real key rainbow trade setups is like Bart Simpson trading, and one of those is essentially it's an evolution of a pinks and cyans, which is essentially saying the strongest color of candles pushing into the cyan machine learning bands, which it gets you into probably the 90% probability that the price is going to top out and reverse, or at least correct and take a breather. And this is one of the ones that 6 months ago when we were in the Bitcoin chop zone, Pixa was just going on leverage degen P&L runs, and I wanted to walk through this because this one he got really nasty with trading and shorting these pumps.
Yeah, so basically, you brought this one to my attention. I wasn't watching Ave. I stopped trading it after a while back when it wasn't doing anything. But yeah, you brought this up to me in chat, and I took a look at it, and I think I got in probably around here, around this area here, and I just waited it out. I think I may have added back on at some point here as well. But basically went sideways into once it hits these bands. Once you start seeing this RSI top and colors rotating, that's when I get interested. You also have these pivots up here at this point, which was cool. But you see the colors starting to rotate and weaken. This is kind of the area that I was getting in on, and I think I forget who it was in the Discord. We were chatting about it too. He got in on it, and yeah, basically just took a while to bleed out. But once it did, you just started dropping pretty heavily. I think my first area I started taking profit was around here, and then I wrote it down to here. And I actually think I longed back up when we got down to these whites. That was a big drop actually down here. But sometimes it's just yeah, and it happens a lot, especially with alts. Where they'll here we go, we got this up here. Just come all the way back down to where it started, and it's 30% ish, 25 to 30% depending on where you get in, and then do it all over again. You see, it came right back up to basically where it all began here, and then you can take it back. But the damage has been done. It's not quite the same setup anymore at that point.
So
But that was a good one.
can you zoom in on that Bart on the left and walk us through hypothetically, this isn't an arch, the one on the far left, yeah. Hypothetically, this is still an arch stream. You're on a leveraged account with $1,000. How do you start layering in shorts on that hairline, expecting it to rotate, and where do you protect
Well,
it, and how do you increase or
so
decrease
so it's
leverage?
tough to say based on like if you have $1,000 account and
Make
how
it
much
10,
you're. Well,
10,000.
I mean, it does. It's how much risk you want to take on this specific trade. For me, when I'm trading, I'll have several trades going at once usually. So like, I can't say how much somebody would want to put into this trade. Managing their own risk and whatnot. But I would start layering. Like, often I'll look for three hits, especially when you start to get up to these bands. On the, if we get this third one, that's when I'd be starting to short it. We would have had a win there, which was half decent, but then you can see they came back up and took that liquidity. So chances are, I think I probably would have gotten in here, taken some profits. I probably would have got stopped out and just re-entered on these pivots, and then I wouldn't have been taken back out, which is what happened. I ended up riding it all the way down. But these are tough because especially when you're seeing pinks and you're seeing them keep pushing and filling their orders, it's hard to sit in this trade. most people will just close it because it's not doing what they want to do, or they'll get stopped out and then they just won't re-enter. But for me, the setup was still there. They just kept going sideways, kept building it, and the colors were weakening around here, which makes it more attractive. But it's also what else is going on in the market too, right? So like, you know, this isn't a one-off trade. I'd be looking at Bitcoin and ETH and what they're doing at the time, and that would affect how confident I am on this short. Depending on, Bitcoin was probably at 100 and something K here. I could pull it up and see, but that also plays into how confident I am in the trade. If everything's pumping and starting to look like it might reverse, then I'll look for these setups there in the cyans and pinks, and I'll look at those to short ahead of like Bitcoin or ETH or something.
Now, is that something with risk adjustment you start at like low leverage and pull your money back out by increasing the leverage, or how do you manage that?
I wish I had a simple answer of being like, I would do 5x leverage on this and then up the leverage later. Part of it is how my other trades are going and how much leverage I go on something. And part of it's where I see the stop loss and how easily I think it'll get hit. So it's tough to say. For most people, I'd say, risk whatever is safe for your account and use as much leverage as you're comfortable with. But like leverage is different for everybody. So for me, I may leverage a position and have 100x leverage, but my actual margin on the position would be equal to what somebody would put in at 5x. And to me, if I were to get stopped or liquidated on that, it would be such a small move that it would be the same as hitting a stop loss of the same amount, if that makes sense. So like, if you're playing with 10,000, 20,000, 2,000, 1,000, doesn't really matter. But like, if you're only risking 2% of your account or 2% on position, your leverage is relative to like, you could open a position for $100 at 100x, or you could open a position, at 10x for $1,000. It's going to be a similar thing, right? It's just basically how you want to play that. But if you want more padding and you're building into like a swing position, so like in this case, that would be more what I'd be doing, because I'd be looking at holding this longer through this. I would be doing lower leverage, higher margin, and then raising the leverage once the position goes in my favor. Somewhere around here, I'd be looking at most likely. And then you raise leverage, pull out that capital, and move on to the next trade. Keep it running.
Because that was one of the things I kind of picked up on is like you're not playing with high leverage in the beginning. You use it to get your capital out once it's really moving in your favor.
Yes and no. Sometimes I am using high leverage, but I'm never using high leverage in like a risky way. Like I won't be using high leverage in like I'll be doing full port account at 100x leverage. I may be doing 25 or 30x leverage at a reasonable amount and what I would normally risk in a trade. And depends on the setup and like, when Bitcoin hit 89K, I'd be more comfortable with higher leverage because that's an area that I'd really be looking to reverse from. And if I take a stop on that, I don't care. I think a lot of people are scared to take stop losses. And to me, I don't get it because, yeah, you get stopped out, you move on to the next trade. You're not going to win every trade. But like, if you're winning enough trades, taking stop losses shouldn't matter to you at the end of the day. If you're not making money, sure, even those stop losses are going to hurt. But, if your trades are going well and you're getting a lot of good trades and setups and eating a stop loss and moving on to the next one or getting back in when it does what you want it to do, you can't be emotional about that, right?
So how do you typically do the stop losses on these setups as well? Do you typically draw that on your pivots, your levels, or is it like, hey, I want to move this, I'm only willing to push it this far into the cyan bands? Or
no, so typically, like if I had these boxes here, like I can use this for an example for a short, but like if I were to, I would usually let the move play out and either enter when it goes below the box. But for me, typically I'd see this wick up, reject right at the top of this box where I want it to. I'd get in around here. My stop would be somewhere above these liquidations or somewhere around here,
do you do the stops partial or that's it, all out?
It depends on the position. So like right now, I'm not looking at a big short. When I was at 107, 108, I was, because that was a big level I was watching, and I had a good feeling it was going to reverse from there. So that would be an area that I might not even, like I'd have a stop, but if I'm on the charts, it would be a manual stop in my head, where I wouldn't have an actual stop loss in the books, but I'd be watching it. I wouldn't be, sleeping or whatever with no stop loss. But, if it's something where I'm looking to swing a position, I'll be looking to build higher. And if if we're breaking out or losing a level on the support side, then it'd be something I'd cut the trade and move on to the next one or eat the stop loss. But it really all depends on the setup. Like a lot of these setups that I'd be looking at now are more on the scalping day trade kind of side of things, not on the swing side. When I'm looking for a short, it may be soon, but right now I'm just scalping mostly. They could turn into swings. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like the way I trade, I'm never like, this is just a scalp, I'm in and out. If price moves fast in one direction, I'll hold that trade if it's starting to break through levels that I like. There's no reason to just say, okay, this is the level I'm getting out of. I'm going to take all my profits. I'll take partials, and then I'll let the rest run. Set my stop loss at break even or whatever level I like, and go from there.